Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So in this video we are going to work on interview coding questions series. So our first video topic is arrays, and in this video we are going to work on these three problems basically, and these three problems are the most commonly asked questions in every product or service based organization. So if this question isn't asked in your interview, then somewhat similar question is going to be asked, but you need to learn to make logic at runtime when you have been asked questions like this. So my idea behind making this video is going to be create a simple logic which everyone can understand, and the logic should be efficient and optimized, right? So the first question that we are going to talk about is max occurring element. Here what we are going to talk about is let's say we have an array, and in that array we need to find out which element is occurring maximum time, right? Talking about second question, here we are going to have two arrays. The possibility is going to be that both these arrays are sorted and both these arrays are not sorted. Then we have to find out the common elements in between these two arrays. The third question is array is rotation of another array or not. So in this case we are going to have two arrays. We need to figure out if it is a left rotation or right rotation. That is the only possibility. You can assume that there are no duplicates and you have to provide the solution in an efficient way. So before we move on to the problems and logic for those, if you are new to my channel, if you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please do. I see that a lot of people are watching my videos but not yet subscribing, so please do that. It is very disheartening to see that the viewers are coming but not subscribers, so please hit that subscribe button. Now let's work on the video. Alright, so let's talk about the first question. So first question is to find the maximum occurrence of an item. Never mind my handwriting, it's been a long time since I have written anything. So yeah, so let's assume an array. So let's say that we have an array like 1 2 1 3 4 and 5 and then 3 1. Now this array has a lot of elements which are not exactly in a sorted manner. What we need to figure out is we need to figure out how many times each element has occurred. So what I can see that 1 is here, 2 is here, 3 is here, 4 and then 5. These are the only elements that we have. Now to find out how many times it occurred, we can simply say that 1 has occurred 3 times, 2 has occurred only 1 time, 3 2 times, and 4 1 and 5 1. So here this is the winner, so we need to print out element 1. Now input is something like this, output should be only one element as in an integer. So in this case we have 1, right? So I hope you understand what we have to do. Now let's actually see how we can work on this. So I have a simple class here. Let me remove the dummy code. Now let's assume the array first. Alright, so we have an input array something like this. So input array, and in this case the output, our expectation is that the output should be 1. Now we can take another example, and let's do here array 2, and in this case let's repeat 2 and 3. Now here we can see that the output should be 3 because 3 came 3 times and 1 is only 2 times. Now we have two different arrays. Now let's work on the logic. So int, and here we can say get max item in array. So here we are going to get an array. So array, and here let's initialize result with let's say 0 for now, and then we simply have to return result. Now there are multiple ways to solve it, right? Multiple. anyone can think in any way possible. But if you see, there are only two approaches. One is your brute force, one is whatever you can find as efficient. So when I talk about brute force, what I can say is, so first thing is that we have to iterate over this array. So there are going to be two arrays here, two loops here. So first thing is that we have to iterate over this array, and there are going to be two iteration, as in two loops. First index or first loop is going to start from 0, and the second loop is going to start from 1. So we are going to keep comparing if it matches. So let's say if I am at index 0 and the element is 1, then the second loop is going to see if we have 1 anywhere else, and if there is a possibility, then it will increase the count and put it in the map, right? So map is going to have key and value pair. So key is going to be your 1 and the value is going to be whatever the count is. But here you are already doing two for loops just to figure out the count. In this case, the complexity is O of n square, which is never going to be efficient, and no interviewer is going to be happy seeing that you have written this logic. But if you don't find any other logic, if you cannot think of any other logic, then you can work on this, right? Now let's work on the efficient logic. So in this case, again we have to iterate. But how are we actually going to iterate? That is the main point. So I am simply going to iterate like this: int item, int array. I am not using any other loop now. What I will do is I will have a map, and this map will have int and int. So integer. Now what we have to do is, this map is obviously empty, but our loop doesn't know that. So first I will have a condition: if map dot contains key, and the key is going to be item here. So we know that our map is empty. In that case, the item, the current item, is not going to be there in the map. So in that case, we will put a new entry, and the entry is going to have a key, which is your item. The value is going to be 1. So here we are saying that the element, or this current item has only occurred once. This is the first time I'm seeing it. Now the second scenario is that the item is already there in the map. In that case, I want to fetch the current value what it has in the map, and then increase it by 1, right? And then I will simply replace the value with the increased count. So here I will say map dot get and item. It will return me the value, and then I will increment it by 1. Now let's reiterate over this what we have done. So first thing is that we have iterated over our array, then we have an empty map. So if the item is only occurring once or coming once, then in that case I will simply put it like this with a value 1. But if it is already there, then I will fetch the value, current value of that item or count, increase it by 1, and then overwrite the existing value with this. Alright, now I have the map. So this map is going to have the items with their count, but I don't know which one is maximum. So for that, what I can do is I can iterate over my map. So here we will say entry and map dot entry set, and let's initialize this with a loop variable. Now entry has two things, key and value. So what I want to do is, first I want to compare if there is a maximum value. If there is a maximum value, then return the item, not the value. So first I will have a count, or you can say max count, and I'll initialize this by 0, and then result is going to have the maximum item. So that's that. So here I will say if entry dot get value greater than max count, then simply replace the value or initialize the max count with the current value, and in this case the result is going to be entry dot get key. Alright, now there is no other possibility. If it is equal, then we don't have to do it. If it is less than, then again we don't have to do it. In this case we are going to have a result. So what we can do is we can actually try. So sys out, and here we will say get, okay, I forgot to do static here. So get max, and here we will provide array 1, and similarly we will do array 2. Alright, so things are looking good. Let's run this. Alright, so we got an error. Alright, so the condition is wrong here. So if the map is containing the key, in that case we have to do this, otherwise we have to do this. So yeah, let's run it again. So we got the output 1 and 3, which is our expectation. So I hope this is clear. Now let's work on our second question. So for this second question, where we have to find common elements, what we will talk about is we are going to talk about multiple scenarios, because this is going to be a bit tricky. So when we talk about the first scenario, which is your unsorted arrays, so in this case first solution is that to make both these arrays sorted first, and then use the logic which I will provide you in the sorted array solution. Now this is going to be the most efficient way to make this first sorted and then work on the logic provided here. Another ways are that you can use 2 for loops basically. So the first for loop is going to start from 0 in your first array. So this is your array 1, and use the second logic for second loop for your array 2, and find the common elements, iterate over anything. When you find the match, then break out of this current loop and iterate, start working on the next iteration. So this is going to provide you O of n square again. Now you can use stream APIs also. That is another solution which will provide you ON efficiency, so that can work also. Or you can use let's say linked hash set. So linked hash set is going to be your ordered basically, and it doesn't contain any unique elements, it doesn't contain duplicates, so that can also provide you another solution. So let's work on this, and for sorted I'll come last. So let's start working on the logic. So let's create a new class first. Let's give it a name, common elements in arrays, create a main method. Remove this, we don't need this. So let's first talk about unsorted. So like I told you, first solution is your 2 for loops that you can use, but I'm not going to go with brute force approach, because obviously I told you the approach, but it is not going to be efficient, but it is going to be simple. So I'll provide you another simple approach which I really like, and let's go with that. So first let's create 2 arrays, and array 1 is going to be something like 1 2 3 4 7. Okay, copy this. This is going to be our array 2. Here let's change values like 3 and do this 4 and 6. Now these are actually sorted arrays, so let's do something like this, and here let's say 11. Alright, now we have two unsorted arrays, right? Now in this case what we can do is, first is, like I told you, we can use linked has set. Teacher, obviously. Now let's do arrays dot stream. Let's provide the array1 dot, let's box this, and then let's collect it. Use collectors and then to list. Alright, now let's keep it in a variable set1. Let's initialize our local variable. Now this is a pretty big line, so alright, now let's copy this, and this is your set 2. So we have two set, we have two array, and here let's do array 2. Now let's work on the logic. So logic is pretty simple, and what we have to do is, first we need to return integer array, right? So public static int and then get common elements. So this is going to return an array, so I'm creating first list and then I'll convert it to array. Result dot stream dot to array and then int new. It's not applicable for the argument. Alright, so let's change the logic. Alright, now what we have to do here is the main logic. So we will iterate over set first. So here we will say int, so here we will say integer item1, let's just say item, and iterate over set1. So okay, then we will find out if it is there in set2 or not. So we can do contains, and another solution is to add. So add only takes, I think, so add only takes O of 1, so that's efficient. So what we can do is we will do set2 dot add. Now if the item is already there, then it will return false. So if it is returning false, then this is going to come inside as true, and in that case we can add the item to result like this. So this is our common element. Now let's try to run this. Let's do get common elements set1 set2. Okay, so it printed me the array. What we have to do is, let's do Alright, let's run it again, and we got 3 and 7. So let's see, we have 3, we have 7. Do we have anything else? No. So this is working, right? Now let's work on the sorted options. So here let's do 1 2 3 5 7 and 1 3 4 6 7. So these are sorted arrays, and this logic is going to work in this case also. So if you see here, 1 is common, 3 is common, and your 7 is common, right? So let's print this. So 137, we have it here. So the same solution is working, but let's try to figure out another solution. So in this case, I don't need these two. So let's create another method. Second approach, so we don't need to do that. Instead what I will do is, let's do method overloading. So array1 and array2. So this is going to be a bit tricky, to be honest, but this is the most efficient solution, and every interviewer is going to love this for sure. Now what we will have is, we will have two counters, int I, j, and we will initialize it by 0. Now okay, let me draw this out for you so that it's more simpler. I equals to 0, j equals to 0. But what these are, so we have array1, which is 1 2 5 7, right? And then we have array2, which is 1 3 4 7. So here we have common elements 1 and 7. Now I is for your array1 and j is for your array2. So when we have I 0 and j 0, then we will compare array1 I equals array j. Along with this, we will also do comparison like array I greater than array j and array j, sorry, I less than array j. So 3 scenarios we have to cover. So what will happen in this scenario? If I and j are equal, in that case we will do I plus plus and j plus plus, right? If array I is greater than array j, as in this scenario, let's talk about this one, array I is greater than array j. So in that case what we will do is, we will keep I at the same index, but we will do j plus plus. And the reverse is this one, if array I is less than array j, in that case I is going to be plus plus, right? So what will happen is, we will going to keep incrementing, but also thinking that the arrays are in sorted order, so it has to be a sorted comparison. So why we have to use any other data structure or use any other logic? We can simply work on arrays, right? So that is what we are going to work on this one. Alright, so we have I, j as in 0. Now what we need to do is, we need to iterate. So similarly we had result array here, so we will have result array here as well. Now let's do a while loop. While I less than array1 dot length and j less than array2 dot length. Now again, like I said, we will have to do 3 conditions here. So if array1 I equals array2 j. We will just add it we have to do list here, so I'm changing the code. So we will just do result dot add, and here we will say array, either one we can do, array1 or array2, either one will work. So yeah, now let's talk about the else if condition. So else if array I is greater than array2, in this case we will do j++, and let's copy this. In that case we will do I++. Alright, now let's try to run this, and what we need to do is we need to change this to array1 and array2. Alright, let's run this. Oh, okay, I missed one condition here. In this case we have to do I++ and j++, otherwise it is going to be at the same index, it won't change, right? So sorry about that. Alright, so we got the same output 1, 3 and 7, so this is working. So the same logic we can use for our unsorted condition also. The condition here is that we have to first sort the arrays, right? You can use any sorting technique, whatever you like, and then you can work or use this logic. Now let's work on the third question. Alright, so now let's talk about the last question, which is going to be the trickiest or the difficult question amongst these three. So here we have to find out if the array1 is a rotation of array2 or not. So what do we mean by that? So let's say that we have elements like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is our array1. Then we have array2, which something looks like this: 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So here you can see that each element has shifted a left index. So 2 has been shifted to 1 and 3 as 2, and similarly we have everything. So here we have to figure out whether this is a rotation or not. If it is a rotation, then return true, otherwise return false. Now assumption is that the length should be same. If length is not same, in that case we can say that the rotation is not applicable between these two arrays, right? So this is an important factor. So let's try to figure out a logic on this, and again I will try to provide the easiest or simplest solution possible. So let's work on the code now. So let's create a new class, check rotation. Alright, now first let's create two arrays. So int array1 equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and array2 is going to be like 2, 3, 4, 5. Or let's do 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3. Alright. Okay, so let's understand what we have to do here. So for this, let me come back here again. So let's use the same logic here. So what I will do is I will have a loop, and I want to loop a2, to figure out if there is a common point or not. What do I mean by that? So I will use an item variable and I will initialize it with a1 0 as in 0th index, and I will try to figure out if item is in a2 or not. So if it is in a2, then I will figure out the starting index of my array a2. Otherwise I will return false, which means that I couldn't find this common point, so it means that there is no rotation, right? Now I am able to find out the index. Now I will iterate over a1. So a1 will start from 0, but a2 will start from index. So now I will compare array 1 I, which is 0, equals array 2 index. Now considering this scenario, index here is going to be this one for array 2, right? Now this is going to reach the end of the array sooner. So what will I do is I will have a condition in place that if index equals a2 dot length -1, in that case initialize index with 0, so as in restart again. So this is what I'm thinking. Let's try to make it in Java and see if it is working. So let's create a method, public static boolean is rotation in arrays, and here we will have two basically arrays, so int array1 int array2, and by default I'm going to return true. Now let's use the same logic. If array1 dot length not equals to array2 dot length, then return false. Alright, covered the simplest test case. Now here I need to figure out the common index from array2. So what I will do is I will do int I equals to 0, int I less than array2 dot length I plus plus. Now what I will do is I will check if item, which is array1 of 0, if array2 I equals array1, sorry, item, in that case break, and let's use index variable 0 for now, index equals to I. Yeah, this is what we have talked about. Now we have the index with us. Now what we will do is we will use another for loop. Let me copy this. And this one is for array1. Now we will have few conditions here. So first condition is if index equals array 2 dot length. You can do array2, array1, whatever you want. The length is going to be same here, -1. Also we can say here if index equals 0, then return false. Okay, so in this case what we will do is we will do index equals to 0 and I plus plus. Alright, now the another condition is going to be if array1 of I not equals to array2 index, return false. Alrighty, now let's run this. So to call out, just do sysout is rotation, and let's run this. So it returned false, which is wrong. So something went wrong here. Let's try to figure out. So let's debug this. Alright, so we have array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the length is not different, so it return false. Item is your 1. We need to first figure out what is going to be the index. So what is the index? Index is 2. Let's check it out. 0, 1, 2. So it is good. Now comes the main comparison. So array1 dot length, so index is not equals to this, so array I, what is it? It is 1 obviously, and this is also going to be 1, so it won't return false, and it will continue. Now I is going to be 1. Okay, so I know what went wrong. So we missed incrementing index plus plus. Now let's run this again. Now it returned true, so this is working fine. So this was pretty much it what I wanted to showcase in this video. The next topic of this interview coding question is going to be string, and I don't know if this video is going to work or not, but this is something I wanted to try out for a long time. So yeah, this is it. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you love this video, let me know. I'll make more videos like this, and I will meet you in some another video. Till then, stay happy, keep learning, and bye bye.